When were you first diagnosed?
Well, so my mom was 6 months pregnant, and she was at the doctor's getting her checkup, and they said that there was something wrong with the fetus, and they did tests, and they said that I could either be born with Down syndrome, Turner syndrome, or another really bad disease, and I think it's called, maybe like, it has something with mine in it. But anyway, so they did the test, and it came back that I had Turner syndrome. And so, they pretty much said that there was only a 1% chance of me surviving, and that it would be easier for my mom to abort me. And so, yeah, it wasn't until I was 8 years old that I knew I had Turner syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
So in my opinion, there's two different diagnosis stages there.
Mm-hmm. How did your parents react when you were diagnosed, and how did they support you?
My mom was angry because my doctor told me without my permission. And so Mom was really upset because she wanted me to go through puberty before I figured everything out. And so she was very supportive. She knew everything about the disorder before I did. And she always made sure to get the best doctors in the state for me. And always made sure to take me to all my doctor's appointments and all this stuff. My teacher said that, like, I would need to be put in the mentally challenged special needs classes. And my mom was like, no, like, you're going to treat her like everybody else. And so, yeah, my mom was very supportive, but she was very strict.
Mm-hmm.
She required me to make all A's. She required me to be the best and not let my genetic disorder get the best of me. So that's how she supported me. So,
mm-hmm.
yeah.
Is it common in your family, or do you know if anyone from your family has had it before?
No, it's really rare, actually. Only 1 out of 2,000 female fetuses get it. And considering that only 1% even survive birth, it's a very rare disease or disorder. And so not many people have it. So it was just my mom's and dad's genetics just kind of created this kind of a perfect storm for this disorder. So it was neat. It's definitely not common in the family.
Okay. Have you had to take any treatments or had any surgeries because of it?
Yeah. Yeah. So by the time I was 15, I had 7 surgeries. So I had 4 ear tubes, which is somewhat common in children, but I had to get 4 ear tubes. I had a hole in my eardrum, and I was losing 10% of my hearing every year. And so by the time, if I didn't have surgery to do a skin graft on my eardrum, then I would be deaf in 1 ear by now. And so that was a surgery. I had a complete reconstruction of my neck and getting rid of my web neck. And so, yes, I am on hormone treatment, which is pretty much birth control. It just regulates the hormones. That's all it's for. And so that's hormone treatment. I could have been put on growth treatment where it makes you taller, but it has a greater chance of cancer. So we didn't do that.
Yeah.
But so pretty much 7 surgeries and hormonal treatment. So, and if I get put on, like if I decide not to do my hormonal treatment, then even if I'm 19, I'll go into menopause.
Wow.
So we can't do that. And so that pretty much regulate, like it just keeps everything smooth and going good for me. So
Do you have any daily medications or treatments that you have to take?
Just that birth control for hormones. Just that little pill.
How has Turner syndrome affected your daily life? Like everyday life? If it has at all.
Yeah, it has. So just for me, it has taught me how to be a stronger person and not to give up on anything, but it definitely makes me realize that I am different than a lot of people. You know, like my face is not exactly like a normal person's, you know. My body stature is not exactly normal, you know, like my joints are a little messed up because of it and stuff. And so it's just makes me realize how grateful I am for the help I do have. But it makes me more determined to do what I want to do in life. And so every day I'm reminded of all the surgeries and all the pain of the surgeries and everything, and it makes me be a stronger person.
What was school like growing up and even now?
It was hard. It was really hard because I just didn't get it, you know, and for a little bit my family really didn't push me to get it. And I saw everybody just, you know, getting their multiplication tables easier and reading easier and all this stuff. But then thankfully my family kind of kicked me in the butt and just said, you know, look, all you have to do is work harder. And so after that, you know, I got into the best classes at my high school, graduated in the top of my class, got a lot of scholarships, and so now it comes easy to me in a way because I've learned those study habits that I have to have, and I've learned to adjust to college life, and I've learned my strengths and weaknesses. Like, I know when I'm falling behind in a class or when I'm not getting something, and I get help for that. And so I've now it comes easy to me. Like, I rely on my intelligence a lot more than I used to, but it used to be really difficult.
Have people ever treated you differently, or do people treat you differently?
Like, growing up, I couldn't wear my hair down because of my web neck, and people I wouldn't really, like, be friends with would just come up and start touching it and, like, flapping it, and, like, you don't do that. And so, yeah, I didn't like that. You know, the guys called me ugly and flat-chested. Well, let's be real here. What girl in the 4th grade has a full set of boobs? None. Anyway, I'm just being real here. And so, growing up, like, I always thought that, like, I was ugly, I was fat, you know, that I was different and stuff. And at the very beginning, my teachers, you know, treated me like, oh, you know, like, she needs help, like, let's not give her as many math problems. And that's when my mom had to be like, look, no, she's just as smart as anybody else. Like, you need to push her. And so eventually I just stopped caring about what everybody else said. And I was like, look, either you like me or you don't. But, like, I'm going to succeed and you can deal with that.
What's the biggest difficulty you've had to go through?
Just the constant doctor visits, the constant surgeries over the years. The constant, like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? I can't have kids. And I've learned how to deal with it. I've learned how to move past it and be like, okay, well, you know, I don't have diabetes yet. I don't have cancer yet. I don't have, you know, a bad heart anymore, because I used to have a quotation in my aorta. And when I went through puberty, it closed up. And so it's just like I've learned to be grateful for the help I do have. And so I think that was just the most challenging thing, was just being like constantly trying to get my health under control. And thankfully now that I've gone through puberty, it's more just maintaining and some checkups throughout the years and some blood tests every 6 months. And so now it's just, you know, keeping up the hard work that we've worked for my entire childhood. So it's a lot easier now, but I think that was the hardest thing.
Okay.